So the question that we have done is how social media affects students' academic performances. So why are we doing this? The reason that we're doing this is that we think that social media is having a big impact on students' academic performances, and that we think that it's having a negative impact on students. We think that students are getting distracted in class when using SNS. So what does SNS mean? SNS means it's social networking sites, and that we think that the results of students' academic performances are getting worse and worse throughout the years. And also other questions that are related to the question that we're doing is how social networking sites affects the students' average grades, how does social networking sites affect the students' studying times, and which gender is getting affected by social networking sites more.
So our hypothesis statement is the social networking sites affects the academic performance negatively, and the person who spends more time on social networking sites than studying will have lower averages. For the data collection method, we conducted a survey at Woodbridge College and selected 40 students, 20 females and 20 males, between the ages of 15 to 20 years. The reason we conducted this survey was to collect data and analyze how social networking sites are affecting students' academic scores. The data collected shows that the mean of the average grade of males is 66.9%. The mode is in the range of 71% to 80% and 81% to 90%. The median is in the range of 71% to 80%. However, the mean of the average grades of females is higher than the average grades of males and is 81%. The mode is in the range of 71% to 80%. The median is in the range of 80% to 81%. The data collected shows that the average grades of females are higher than the males. The overall average grades for male is 66.9% and for females it's 81%. So the number of students who use SNS during class is higher for females. The use of social networking sites during class causes distraction among students rather than absorbing important information from lectures. Student tends to spend more time on their devices. Less focus in class results in the loss of educational information, which affects negatively to the academic grades of students. So from this we can say that the females would be the social networking sites would be affecting females more than the males. Number of hours spent on social networking sites. The number of hours spent using social networking sites affects the academic achievement of students. A multitude of studies demonstrates that good achievements have a positive correlation with the less time spent on social networking sites. Spending less time on social networking sites helps students to have better time management skills, as well helps them to concentrate on studies more. So for a sub-hypothesis, we have that spending more time on social networking sites will have a negative impact on the students' academic performance. So based on this data, a student from a population survey spends 2 hours and 48 minutes using social networking sites. However, the data collected shows females spend more time on social networking sites than males. 40% of the population surveyed spends 4 hours on social networking sites. The mean is 2 hours and 48 minutes, the mode is 4 hours, and the median is 3 hours. The use of social networking sites for educational purposes. Social networking sites can help students to achieve better grades. The social networking sites can be beneficial if students use it for educational purposes. The better use of social networking sites can improve their grades as it is easier and more convenient to access information online. The social networking sites can help in enhancing the learning management system, the research processes, and learners can build social credibility. Students can use these sites to communicate with their teachers and peers through group chats. Another sub-hypothesis is students who use social networking sites for educational purposes will have higher average grades. So the data collected shows that males sometimes use social networking sites for educational purposes. The median for this data is in the range between 71% to 80%. Only 2 males answered that they use social networking sites mostly for educational purposes, and remaining answered that they sometimes use social networking sites for education. The average grades of males who sometimes use social networking sites for educational purposes are higher than those who mostly use social networking sites for educational purposes. So the moral of this data shows that females occasionally use social networking sites for educational purposes. The median lies between the range of 80% to 81%. The data shows that most of the females answered that they sometimes use social networking sites for educational purposes. The average grades of females who sometimes use social networking sites for educational purposes are higher than those who mostly use social networking sites for educational purposes. Based on the data that was collected, the mean of the average grades is in the range of 81% to 90% for females who use social networking sites on a daily basis. The median of average grades of females is in the range of 80% to 81%. The most frequent averages are in the range of 71% to 80% and 81% to 90%, both with the same number of students. 9 students in each range. However, the students in range 71% to 80% spend more time, 30 hours in total, on social networking sites than the students in the range of 81% to 90%. The students who are in the range of 81% to 90% spend 23 hours on social networking sites. The mean for the average grades of males lies in the range of 61% to 70%. The median of the average grades of males is in the range of 71% to 80%. The most frequent averages are in the range of 71% to 80% and 81% to 90%, both with the same number of students, 7 in each range. However, the students in the range 71% to 80% spend more time on social networking sites than the students in the range of 81% to 90%. There is an outlier, and the outlier is that one student responded that their average is between 0% is in the range of 0% to 40%. The outlier affects the mean and the standard deviation. The mean of males data is low compared to the females data because the outlier has decreased the value of the mean. So the correlation between the average grades of male students and the number of hours spent using social networking sites shows that there is a negative correlation between them. The coefficient is negative 0.538229. The graph shows as the number of hours spent using social networking sites increases, the average grades of students decreases. However, the correlation between the average grades of female student and the number of hours spent by them using social networking sites is weak positive and is 0.3067584. This shows that as the number of hours spent using social networking sites increases, the average of the student also increases. This could be because 90% of the female population uses social networking sites for educational purposes to some extent. The correlation between the average grades of students overall and the number of hours spent using social networking sites is negative 0.189827. This graph shows a weak negative correlation between the average grades and the number of hours spent using the social networking sites. This shows as the number of hours spent using the social networking sites increases, the average grades of student decreases. The correlation between the average grades of males and the number of hours spent using social networking sites by them was moderate negative. This becomes weak for the results for both genders because of the fact that to some extent 90% of the female population uses social networking sites for academic and educational purposes. However, the results are still demonstrating that the average grades of student decreases with the increase in the time spent by them on the social networking sites.
So with this part of the slide, I'll be talking about the normal approximation of binomial distribution and binomial distribution. The first part is the binomial distribution. So I'll be talking about the normal binomial distribution. So with this graph, it is showing the latest averages of students. So the most common averages that we got was 71 to an 80%. And when doing this normal distribution, the results were the same. So this means that it's affecting both males and females, affecting all of the grades, all grade 9s, 10s, 11s, and 12s, because by using the social media, it is affecting their own academic performances. And as you can see, the standard deviation are exactly the same, which is a 3.16. So the next part I'm doing is this part is the binomial distribution. So the question is, how much time do you spend using social networking sites each day? So with this, we can see that the most common time that the students is more than 3 hours. So the probability for each one is 1 hour is 15%, 2 hours is 0.23%, 3 hours is 12.15%, and more than 3 hours is a 99.94%. So in conclusion, the hypothesis has been proven correct. It can be concluded the one's average grades can be difficult achieved to be used for social networking sites. The numbers of hours students spend and the reasoning for their use of social networking sites affects the academic performance and achievements. Students who spend less time on social networking sites tend to get better averages grade compared to students who spend more time surfing the social networking site. It was assumed that females would have more negative effects of social networking sites because they spend more time using social networking sites. However, according to the data analyzed, it was found out that the males from the survey population are more affected by the use of social networking sites compared to females. Male students have lower averages grades than female students because students use female students use the social networking sites for educational purpose more than male students. The analyzing of data and the correlation between the two variables, the average grades and the numbers of hours spent using the social networking sites, proves that all the numbers of hours spent using social networking sites increases the average grade of students decreases. Therefore, it can be concluded that social networking sites affects the academic performance of students negatively.